4392, 800-709-4392, 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakel. So we're going to see if we can get our good buddy Bob Cardosa hooked up here with us. I'm hoping that he's tuned in the right way here this time around. We're just, I don't know, using Skype these days is almost a crapshoot with me. It's just something else. Yeah, see, I'm seeing him ringing here now. And let's hope that he gets on the line here with us. Anyway.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, my friend?
Hey, you know what? Did it rain where you were at? We had thunderstorms here last night.
Oh, well, I'm deaf, so once I take my hearing aid out, I don't hear thunderstorms.
Well, you know what? I don't hear out of one ear, and I'm deaf in the other ear. But it was lightning and thunder and rain coming down. Animals were lining up 2 by 2. I was waiting for somebody to kill the 2 mosquitoes that went by.
Well, I sleep through earthquakes, so anything.
Well, you know what? I envy you, John.
Oh well, it's just I don't know. I just have one of those. I think the chemical they talk about is what's it called, dorphamine or something like that.
Yeah, dopamine.
Yeah, the ability to. I mean, I'm wherever I'm at. I guess I learned it in the military. You just learn. You sleep when you get the chance because when you wake up, you may not be able to sleep again for a while, and it's just something over the years. I don't know. I can fall asleep anywhere if I want to.
Boy, I heard that, buddy. Hey, listen, I understand you want to talk a little bit about WikiLeaks today.
Well, yeah, we're kind of traveling a little bit of a gauntlet today, and I guess Joe, let's do this. Joe, let's talk about the Gettysburg speech by Donald Trump. Did you hear that? Listen to that at all, Bob?
I only heard the trailer for it. I didn't get to hear it at all. No.
Okay, well, Joe points something out in it that I think is very relevant. The fact that he said, I don't know how much more Donald Trump has to sound conservative before people realize that he's better than Hillary. Is that what you were saying, Joe?
Yeah, it's pretty much it. I mean, when he states that he wants to put a freeze on all government hiring across the board, and
Joe, is this when he actually talked about what he was going to try to accomplish in his first 100 days?
Yeah, that would be the entire Gettysburg speech. Yes.
Yeah.
Then I did hear it.
Okay. All right. So, well, Joe, go ahead and fill us in on it because I have to be honest, I missed most of it.
Well, I mean, he talked about that, and basically, which is basically what? Limiting the size and scope of government.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, he talked about getting rid of the EPA regulations and trying to grow the economy and this and that. And it's like, wow, I listened to it, and it's like, what's this guy? It's like if this would have been Jebby or Marco, people would have been, oh yeah, what a conservative guy. But it's Donald Trump, and it's like, oh, he sucks. He said bad words 11 years ago.
The interesting thing, Joe, is that what a wonderful accomplishment if it could ever be done. I don't think any of it could be done in the first 100 days or even the first 4 years or 8 years or whatever it might turn out to be or not turn out to be. Truth is, everything he said, I mean, didn't you just get a chill up and down your spine when he talked about term limits for congressmen and senators and in all the rest of the stuff with regard to immigration and how he was going to handle that and the truth about how he was going to handle the wall? And he gave tremendous insights that hopefully somebody was listening to.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about 1.8 million dead people are registered to vote.
Yeah.
I mean, and you go, how can they talk about it not being rigged? You got 1.8 million dead people are registered to vote. You got 2.8 million people who are registered in more than one state. You got 14% of non-citizens are registered to vote, for crying out loud. And he's going, how can it not be rigged? How can it not? How can you say there's not voter fraud? There won't be any chance of voter fraud out there. I mean, the stuff he was saying is like, yeah, and it's what it's what people have been saying all along. But you can't. But
Joe, here's the thing: about a million people die every year that have Social Security numbers or that are registered to vote, and that million people don't come off the rolls right away. Now, if we could actually find a mad cow in the middle of Wisconsin, or if we can hack into all these computers. You think that somebody can't hack in and get those names and those registrations and take advantage of it? I think you'd be naive to think we couldn't.
Well, Hillary Clinton admits it to herself. She said it the other day at debate when she said, you've got undocumented immigrants that are paying in Social Security. Well, if they're paying in the Social Security, you're only doing it one way, and that's by identity theft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I see. Let me just for a moment here play the devil's advocate on this thing, because this is something I'm concerned. One of the things we're concerned about right now is the fact that the federal government is using cyberspace threats, the threat of cyber hacking and everything else, to justify having the federal government step in and basically provide national oversight throughout the states. That's how they're going to put it. We're just here to make sure everything is on the up and up, and all those disenfranchised voters get to vote, and we don't have voter fraud and everything else. That's the way they would justify it. But what it really comes down to, and we talk about this, about voter, dead voters and voter rolls needing to be cleaned up and everything else, and the idea that people move. We know back in 2012 that there were a couple of people in Colorado, Bob Bennett, I believe it was, got caught with his operatives out there taking absentee ballots out of dumpsters at universities. The students weren't there anymore, and they were pulling them out of the dumpsters. So we know the fraud is there. My concern is that we buy into the narrative that we need federal oversight to stop this. See, that's where I come from when I look at this stuff and I say, yeah, there's a problem, and yes, something needs to be done. But the last people you want involved in this is the federal government, because they'll just screw it up even more. What do you think, Bob?
I agree.
So I think what it needs to be is that there needs to be something generated at the state levels where, you get, and maybe start out with some of these Republican-controlled states and have people down there saying down at the state level, okay, let's do this. Let's clean the rolls up. Let's make it mandatory, that kind of thing. And I think one of the other solutions is to eliminate online voting, online registration, absentee ballots, unless you're overseas in the military or something like that. But just because you're going to be at the Gaga concert on voting day and you want to just mail your ballot in so you don't miss it, that kind of stuff needs to be eliminated.
Hey, John, hang on a second. I wasn't aware that they had online voting.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, some states do. Yeah, there's some states out there do have online voting. I think Indiana was one of them. I'm not.
Well, then how can these secretaries of state say that they're not utilizing the internet and it can't be hacked if they're using online voting?
Exactly. So here's my point on this: is John, I guess being in California, you would have this assumption, but this has been done before in Republican-led states, and all that happens is it goes to court, and the Democrats get some judge out there to throw this crap out. It's happened here in Florida, it's happened in North Carolina, it's happened in Texas, it's happened in Tennessee. Every time you turn around, you try to do exactly what John said, and they turn right around and say, you're trying to just limit voters. You're just trying to limit access to voting and all that. It's in the WikiLeaks emails. I was just reading it from Hillary Clinton's emails.
Yeah, well, there's nothing more threatening to our republic than a disenfranchised dead voter.
I guess that it really isn't a dead issue, is it? There's so many things going on now that my head is spinning from all the stuff that's going on. The truth is, I used to say I couldn't tell the difference between the truth and the lie. Well, now I can tell the difference because nobody's telling me the truth. Everything I'm hearing is a lie.
Yeah, now you just hit on something, Bob. We got to go to our break here. When we come back, I want to, because I mentioned it earlier in the show, and I want to get your take on this. The idea here that nothing out there that we're hearing anymore can be believed. And so what's a voter to do when you know that you're being lied to by everybody, even the people that you're supporting to a great degree? We'll talk about that when we get back here. We got to go to our break.
All right.
And we'll continue our conversation. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Am I not speaking English?
TheConservativeSyndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we're going to try to get Bob back up here with us so we can finish out our conversation, because I think that's really, probably one of the most disheartening things that we're talking about here, Joe, is the idea here that we don't really know who to believe anymore. and not knowing who to believe, how do you really make a rational, vetted decision? You've got to put the legwork in. You've got to get out there.
John and Drew. Hey, guys.
Yeah, you've got to get the legwork done. You've got to go out and find this stuff out yourself and actually quit relying on all these. You know, it would be great if all the media outlets just shut down tomorrow.
Well, guess what, John? It's what you're supposed to have been doing all along any damn way.
Yeah, I get it. So yeah, but John, Robert said something here just before the break here, because it makes your head spin sometimes. You get on here like I was talking about the polls earlier, and you get on and the headlines I see over the weekend. The LA Times has this thing virtually tied. Now, that L.A. Times, a leftist rag, almost as left as you get, out there saying, well, their polls are telling them this thing is virtually tied. You get somebody like Rasmussen. Rasmussen has nothing to gain by skewing the poll numbers. And they say, okay, Trump's ahead by 2. Gallup comes out and says, oh, okay, Trump's ahead by 1. And then you go to ABC, Washington Post, and Hillary's winning by 12 points. And you have to look at, you see this and go, what the hell? How did this?
The interesting thing is let's forget about the Washington Post for a minute, and think about all these ones that are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 percentage point difference. The truth is that is an absolute neck-to-neck tie if the numbers were real. You know what? I don't think there are any real numbers out there. In the Washington Post, they just manipulate their numbers any way they want. And they hate Trump anyway. Ever since I think they were the first newspaper that Trump castigated, aren't they?
Well, we were mentioning here at the beginning of our show today, this ABC Washington Post poll came out today. Hillary Clinton ahead by 12 points, and nobody pays particular attention to how they come to those results. I do. Whenever I see a poll out there, I want to know what the actual poll says. What the questions were. How many people they interviewed or surveyed? Were these likely voters? Were these adults? Were these registered voters? And then from there you get kind of engaged.
Or were they dead voters?
Yeah, well, you know how many people they polled in this ABC poll? 76 people.
Oh, gee.
Okay, and 37 of them were Democrats. So it's kind of like when you look at that and you go, when you put things in those perspectives, you're saying, well, geez, this is lying. Now you go to some place like the LA Times, who at least has upped the numbers and said, okay, we polled about 550 people, likely voters or registered voters, and they come out and they say, well, this thing is a dead heat right now. You can't tell one way or the other. But I always see, what I've learned to do now is I go by what I see the campaign out there doing. Right now, what you see Clinton's campaign out there doing, They're talking about the down ballot. They're trying to give the impression we've already got this thing locked. Now we got to go after the Senate. Hillary Clinton's out there going into red states right now, going into Arizona, going into Texas, trying to.
Yeah, but John, you realize that there's a psychological advantage to what she's doing there. The psychological advantage, and I think you and I talked about this last week, and that is that there are a lot of people that don't vote their conscience. They don't vote what's best for them. They don't even necessarily vote what's best for the country. They vote because they want to be able to say, hey, I voted for the winner. And if she gets these people to believe that she's going to be the winner, it's not that they like her or don't like Donald Trump. They want to vote for who they say was the winner.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was funny. I heard one of the headlines I saw this weekend was, it's now out in the open. Sexism is now out in the open. And I'm sitting there going, what do you mean? We knew this was going to be the Clinton campaign from the onset. It was going to be the woman card. It was going to be the gender card. It was going to be let's emasculate and let's castrate every man in America because they don't know what they're doing. You know, that we knew that was coming down to that. And then as they start lining up the sexual allegations and all that, find 12 women over in a matter of a couple of weeks that have been quote unquote sexually assaulted, and the latest one is a crack up
in public places, John.
Yeah. Well, the latest one's a crack up. Jessica Drake, a porn star, complaining that Donald Trump offered her $10,000 to spend a night. I mean, hey, woman, that's a month's salary for you. And I'm like, come on, let's get it on here. Let's tell the truth. A porn star is upset that she was offered money for sex. I mean, come on.
You know, this world. I like the world that I grew up in a lot better than I do this one. Although this one's got a lot more excitement in it, I guess.
I'm thinking, what alley did Gloria Allred go down to find this one? You know,
is this another client of Gloria Allred's?
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is the lady. She has brought up 3 women here in the last week and a half. You know, this is the Schwarzenegger campaign all over again. Remember how that came down? The Meg Whitman. 2 weeks before the election, what happens? We find out that Meg Whitman employed an undocumented Democrat as a maid. All right? And it killed Meg Whitman's campaign. They've got these women out here. I mean, Gloria Allred, in my opinion, makes Nancy Pelosi look like Mother Teresa. So anyway, but here's something else here, along with the dialogue that we're going along right now here. I found an article this morning by Andrew Harnick out at the Associated Press, and he's talking about they're talking about early voting. We were talking about early voting, absentee, and stuff like that. She comes out. She's over the weekend. She's in someplace in Cleveland. Okay, in the first 4 days of in-person early voting here in Ohio, more people showed up to vote than they did at the same time in 2012 in our last election. Now, what that sounds like, the illusion is, people are rushing to the polls to vote for Hillary Clinton. All right, we've got more voters showing up this time than we did in 2012. I'm sitting there going, what planet do you live on that you've got more people rushing to the polls to vote for Hillary Clinton than Barack Obama?
Yeah.
I mean, are we living in the land of Oz yet, or what? But
well, you know, John, I actually heard one of these reporters, the media guys, say something about they were talking about the increase in the number of people that had registered to vote. And you know, you don't know who they voted for. Did the early voting? All you know is what their political affiliation is. And they had the gall to say that a lot of these Republicans that were showing up early for voting were really there to support Hillary. Now, how do they know what the heck is going on in that ballot box?
Well, see, that's the point that Mr. Harnick over the Associated Press points out here. He says, while it's all true that the 5 largest counties in Ohio have at this point in time had more people show up than they did in 2012, they're still 40% below the actual count of people that showed up and voted early last time around. It's just this time more people showed up earlier, but the actual number is behind. And he says, so they're not telling you that. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you that the mail-in requests are down by 12%. In counties carried by Mitt Romney, they're only down 7%. And he goes on to say Democrats are only at 53% of their early vote total from 2012. But the line is handed out there. We've got more people showing up earlier to vote. Therefore, we must be winning. And then he goes on to say, but the problem is nobody knows if these Democrats are showing up to vote for Trump any more than they know if Trump Republicans are showing up to vote for Hillary. See,
that's exactly right.
Nobody knows right now where this thing is going because we know this election cycle has transgressed partisanship and political party affiliation. We have a lot of Republicans who think that Donald Trump's a nasty guy, okay? Didn't seem to care about Bill Clinton being a nasty guy, but Donald Trump is a nasty guy. And we've got a lot of Democrats that are saying Hillary Clinton, well, I wouldn't trust her with my, with my pooper scooper. So there it is. There it is,
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I'm looking at the clock here. Hey, we're out of time, believe it or not.
I don't know how that happens, but in any event, John, this is really a great show. I want to thank you and Joe. I love it when we have a nice conversation like this, and I want to remind everybody that we're on the air every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. We don't want to interfere with John's people. So you know what? If you are listeners to John, just get my app. Listen to my show right after his show. And if you're on my show, don't forget to listen to John on his website. Hey, guys, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
All right, you take care. All right, guys, we're coming up here in the break. We got to pay some bills, and then we'll get back to this conversation here that we're having here about polls and everything else. But I want to let Joe also expound more on this, the list of things that Donald Trump said he was going to do in his first 100 days. I'm looking at the list here. This is quite impressive, actually. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but we'll talk about it anyway. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Stripping money from the U.S. military budget to pour into government school systems is simply exacerbating two major problems. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, government schools in America have for years received enough money to ensure that more money is spent per student throughout the Republic than almost any other nation on earth. Yet, overall, America ranks 30th in the world in education quality, proving that spending the most money does not ensure the highest quality. Especially since the actual goal of American government school educators is to indoctrinate American students into being glorified, socially conscious globalists who are more in league with the United Nations, open borders, and climate change dogma than reading, writing, arithmetic, and true American history. In addition, the stripping away of needed funding from what has been the best military in the world has produced massive shortages in needed supplies at every level. Thus, the military is now at best heavily strained in the effort to protect America and maintain stability throughout the world. Hopefully, this scenario of double trouble is soon corrected through a return to providential guidance and an appreciation for America the Beautiful. I'm Ron Edwards.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, we're back. We're back. You're listening to Hour 2 right here, the Conservative Syndicate, live coming to you coast to coast and around the world. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And I want to point something out here real quick here. Just as I normally do here during the break, out here, and we mentioned this just before our segment ended with Bob Cardoso last hour here, all right? The idea here that we're not really sure what's happening in the elections, but I guess how, well, I kind of lost my thought there. Anyway, I mentioned briefly that Hillary is moving into some of the red states, trying to come into some of the red states and affect things, okay? And lo and behold here, I find out that her campaign has dumped $1 million into the state of Indiana for the governor position over there, and I believe House of Representatives or something like that. Now, the reason I bring that up is because if you were listening to us last week, you know that Indiana is the one that's going through the voter fraud registration problem right now.
Yeah.
Okay? So the state that is now reporting that there's been this massive move for people coming into the registration centers and changing data on their voter registrations either online, or they can't change them online. They have to actually go in and submit a paper form, right?
Yeah.
And there's this massive movement going on. All of a sudden, $1 million comes out of the Clinton campaign and gets dumped into Indiana. And you know, nobody in the media puts 2 and 2 together here.
Well, that's because they can't add.
I mean,
they refuse to see it.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, they just refuse to see it, John. I mean, for crying out loud, you know, they poo-pooed the Project Veritas videos because they said they're highly edited and such. Well, if these videos are so just full of crap, then why did Bob Creamer resign from his position? At Democracy Partners?
Right.
Why did he resign? You know, if these videos are so just crap, just so much fiction. Why did the guy feel he resigned? As he said, he didn't want to be a distraction to the campaign.
Yeah,
but,
well,
the
other guy, Brian Vogel, he was another guy who stepped down.
Well, he got fired. No, he got fired. He got fired from his position. The other guy stepped down.
Okay, he's the one that got fired. Okay, all right. Yeah. And you know, one of the things that nobody is saying in the media is that absolutely nobody is denying the validity of any of these emails.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking about over the weekend. I was talking about that. We're going, no, these emails are hacked. These emails are worthless. And I was thinking, okay, I was talking to the wife. I says, okay, so they're worthless. So if you go to and you see this jewelry store is robbed, and you got all these jewels, these diamonds and pearls and whatever, and then you get the jewelry and you find out, and you got the jewelry and somehow you can get a hold of it. You go, oh no, that jewelry's been robbed. It's been hacked. It's worthless now.
Yeah. Well, that's been the defense. I think last week. Oh, this is a gem. Last week, this was a gem. Donna Brazile is on with Megyn Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Megyn Kelly just really starts drilling her over
giving
Hillary Clinton the questions of the CNN town hall or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. After Brazile denies it several times, and Megyn Kelly says, "Well, yeah, but what about the emails that say, that you did it? You did this, all right?" Brazile doesn't discount the authenticity of the emails. She doesn't even really offer the Russian hackers excuse like most of them do. Like, okay, the emails were hacked, therefore they're not true. That's the narrative.
It's better than that, John. It's even better than that.
That's your analogy. You go and you break into a jewelry store and rob it. Does that mean that now because you've stolen those things that they don't have any value to them? Okay, and if that was the case, why would people continue to rob jewelry stores? But anyway, what she does, this is her defense.
Mm-hmm.
I almost gagged. Okay, as a Christian woman, I understand persecution. And I'm not going to stand here or sit here and be persecuted by you.
Yes, I heard it too, John. It just made me want to laugh.
You have got to be freaking kidding me. All right? Okay? The party that supports ripping babies out of the womb. I love the way Trump said that. I wish more people would refer to it in its proper context. Ripping babies out of the wombs and puncturing their skull so that they'll die. That kind of thing. And she's going to speak to me, the average American, about her Christian values and ethics. I'm like, all right, okay. And those are buzzwords. That is a way of neutralizing everything. Like when you're in the church Let me share this real quick. One of the things I've learned in 20 years I spent in ministry is that people can do whatever they want to do and justify it by telling you they read it in the Bible. I've seen that time and time again. I met a man once. I almost punched him out. I was at a meeting someplace, and he was telling me he was going to open up his own church. He was going to be a pastor. So I say, okay, well, what are you going to do in the meantime while you're building your church? Because you still have to make a living, right? Oh, well, my wife is going to work because I can't. I'm like, why can't you work? Well, because I'm going to build a church. How many members in your church right now? You and your wife, right? Yeah. So what do you have to do? You don't have to do anything. And you're telling me that what you think is that because you now think you've been called to be a pastor, your wife has to go to work and support you while you try to figure out how to build a church.
I don't have to have you persecute my Christian faith like that, John.
Okay, yeah. That was the response he gave me. That's what God told me to do. And that's the out. That's the out. Once they tell you, God told me to do it, there's no longer any argument. You can't argue with them. All right? Because God told me to do it. The angelic host showed up on my bed and told me, go ye and build a church and make your wife work.
To make that bingo hall large.
Okay? And that's I always have that vision whenever I hear Democrats and liberals who support abortion, same-sex marriage, try to tell me that they're Christians and you're questioning my Christian ethics and beliefs. All right? Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's called apostasy. Anyway, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll continue right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Right now, it's time for Moments of Madness. Hey, on Moments of Madness. There have been several strategies employed by the elitists, operatives, and media lapdogs to stop Donald Trump. Charges he is of bad temperament, lacks the ability to articulate conservative principles, is unqualified to lead our armed forces or govern the most diverse society on the face of the earth because of his language, racist, sexist, and xenophobic views have fallen short in bringing about his political demise. The elitists that for decades have greased America's political machine undetoured and unopposed find themselves at a loss as to how to eradicate the Trump phenomenon. And that's just the Republicans. On the other side of the political asylum are attempts to shame deplorable Trump supporters by claiming they are proponents of white privilege, while deploring white soccer moms their little girls may learn about promiscuity from someone other than Beyonce and Planned Parenthood, and inciting minority demographics to stand together against the man that has made millions at their expense and cares not about their socioeconomic plight. Though these strategies and tactics have been successful to some degree in hindering Trump's scorched earth trek through the establishment rank and file, the best the elitists and their minions have to show is a single-digit lead in the polls, if the polls are even accurate. However, the disapproval numbers remain virtually even between the angry Donald Trump and the corrupt, politically two-faced, pathological liar Hillary Clinton. So, as the latest all-too-well-rehearsed tactic to discredit their opponent with charges of sexual exploitation and assault with yet another bimbo eruption begin to subside, the establishment has one arrow left in their quiver. That is voter suppression. The left has always benefited from a low voter turnout. Having offered the electorate the lesser of two evils in the last 6 election cycles, many on the right simply do not care enough to make it to the polls. The only new variable this time around is the GOP has joined them in their plot. Trump's accusation the system is rigged has squelched the discontentment that has kept so many from voting for decades or not at all. His charges of disenfranchisement of the silent majority ring true, as we have learned the DNC plotted to make sure Bernie Sanders would not be credited with exposing the Democrat Party as socialists disguised as capitalists. The preservation of the establishment required one of their own be handed the baton. Evidence of voter fraud is beginning to pile up like Hillary's email leaks, proof of collusion with Wall Street, and corruption between almost all of the federal government's agencies, including the FBI and CIA. Here's the madness. The brilliance in the left's strategy to suppress voter turnout this time around is by suggesting Donald Trump's assertion of collusion between establishment elites and the media to sequester the silent majority is actually a tactic by Trump to deprive real Americans from exercising their right to vote. This time, they have accomplices. Consider from the outset of the primary season, many operatives and leaders of the GOP have voiced such disdain for Trump, they first said they couldn't honor their pledge to support the Republican nominee. When that didn't rein Trump in, they began to endorse Clinton as the better, more qualified leader. The rift between rhinos and conservatives has been exposed to its core. It isn't about ideology or principles, it's about self-preservation and profit. Another schism has also ruptured the surface of pretend politics. The schism that has existed secretly in the catacombs of the Christian church for decades. Megachurch leaders claiming the evangelical brand have suddenly found self-righteous indignation that a heathen like Donald Trump is being supported by their flocks. They are telling us to vote for Trump is to vote against all Christians claim to be. They even lament not voting for Mitt Romney, who they now say was a man of character, forgetting completely he is also a Mormon, and as we now know, part of the establishment that supports Clinton over his own purported beliefs. Never mind, the only other viable alternative is to vote for Hillary Clinton, who also violates doctrine and values, or a third-party candidate that will result in basically throwing our vote away, serving to put Clinton in the White House. Never mind the fact that had they begun to voice moral concerns back when Hillary's husband was running, we might not be facing judgment from the God they claim to honor and follow. The truth is, real Christians are in a catch-22. As I stated, many Christians abstained for voting for Romney in 2012 due to his religion. I was not one of them. I voted for Romney for the very reasons the Christian elites now laud him. And I remember being criticized by other Christians like myself for placing Romney's values over our faith. Voter suppression in that election gave us another Obama term. Now Christians are being asked once again to ignore stopping the evil of the Obama legacy by refusing to support somebody with virtually no ties to Judeo-Christian beliefs, at least in practice. It's Mitt Romney all over again. So I'm guessing the issue is Christians need to be excluded from voting at all. For many of today's Christian leaders, that's exactly what they want, a return to secular separation of church and state. Unfortunately, this time around, if Trump loses, we won't have to worry about religion and politics because we will be fed to the lions. Let's just hope leaders of the church are first to go. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back, and this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we're glad to have you with us today. All right, I'm going to turn the con over here to Joe because he actually listened to the entire Gettysburg speech out there by Donald Trump last week. I only caught bits and pieces of it over the weekend watching different news programs. And, by the way, just quick mention here. Trump was on the 700 Club today with Pat Robertson. I was really kind of surprised to see that. I thought Pat Robertson might be one of these guys, on the sudden self-righteous indignation wagon. But he turns out he's a pretty avid Donald Trump supporter. I was really kind of surprised. So that's I think that'll work. I'm really hoping that a lot of these evangelicals out here, so-called evangelicals, so-called Christian conservatives, actually can just suck it up and just understand if you really wanted to change the morality of this country, you should start with Bill Clinton. And, so you got what you deserve. You've reaped what you've sown. So anyway, having said that, let me turn it over to you, Joe. We're talking about the Gettysburg speech.
Yeah, we're talking about the Gettysburg speech, and it's basically it's the things that Donald Trump. It's like 28 things that Donald Trump proposes he'd like to do in the first 100 days, and so obviously we're not going to go through the time. Let me take a look here. I think I looked it up, and the speech itself was over an hour long. So there's no way we're going to cover it all here. But some of the things he was talking about. He was talking about the immigration rules And I'm just going to hit the highlights here, and I'm going to go through. And and unfortunately, once again, I have to go outside the United States to get a fairly comprehensive report on this. In words and whatever. I have to go to the Daily Mail out of the UK. So it's really just awesome to have to do that. But it's, like I said, it's the first 100 days, and that's pretty normal for these candidates to kind of do that kind of thing. And where's Hillary Clinton with her plan? All she wants to do is she wants to go ahead. She wants to open up the borders and have massive migration of these the migrants coming over here. And she wants to. What's the other thing she wants to do? I'm sure it's nothing that's going to be good for Americans. I really don't want to hear about what she said, because let's face it, she's lied. She's lied and cheated to get to where she's at. She had to lie and cheat for her own party to get her own party's nomination. So, why do we even care about what she says? Anyhow, his first 100 days, he talked about immigration, he talked about the economy, he talked about a whole bunch of different things. His anti-corruption things he was talking about. Immigration, people go this immigration thing with Trump. He wants to cancel Barack Obama's unconstitutional executive orders and actions. He wants to pick conservative judges. Oh, that was the other thing Hillary wanted to do, I think. She wanted to not pick conservative judges. He wanted to cancel all the federal funding to sanctuary cities, i.e., you name the city, and it's probably a sanctuary city now. The biggest one everybody probably thinks about is San Francisco. And then begin by removing the 2 million criminal illegal aliens. Let's emphasize that again. Criminal illegal aliens. Kind of redundant, but yes. Instead of all you're going to hear from the other news sites is going to be Donald Trump wants to remove 2 million immigrants. Yeah. Exactly. It's like that's all he wants to get rid of immigrants. Oh yeah. Okay. He wants to get rid of criminal illegal immigrants. All right. He wants to cancel the visas to countries that won't repatriate them. Remember when he was talking about the bad guys, and then another country won't take them back? And he wants to suspend immigration from terror-prone regions where incoming people can't be properly vetted. I don't know. That seems pretty damn evil to me. Wow. What do you think, John? You think that's an evil thing to want to go and stop immigration from regions where the people can't be properly vetted? That's pretty evil, huh? That's un-American. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It just seemed to make sense for me. So let's just go with let me see. Yeah, we got time for all of this actually. If not, we'll make time for it. The top 10 out of Donald Trump's speech the other day from Gettysburg. The Middle Class Tax Relief and Simplification Act. It's the economic plan designed to grow the economy 4% a year and create 25 million new jobs. It involves tax cuts, trade reform, regulatory relief, restrictions on energy production, and the encouragement of companies with offshore funds to bring them back to America. Sounds pretty leftist to me. I don't know. As a conservative, I don't think I can get behind, and not one bit of that. That just sounds too bad. That sounds just over the top. That's more in line with Hillary Clinton right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just awful stuff there. He wants to end the Offshoring Act. New tariffs on goods brought into the U.S. by American companies that relocate jobs out to U.S. Hey, Nabisco.
Well, there's one thing about this tax relief, the idea of cutting back income tax for families, 35% for those. A family with two, as he puts here, gets a 35 cents tax cut. Now, the argument on the other side, of course, is what? Is by cutting taxes, you're going to increase the deficit.
Well, right? Yeah, you don't have you're just not going to get that revenue into the coffers, which has been already proven to be false.
But then you see some of the aspects that would keep that. You could actually reduce the deficit while you're reducing taxes. The freeze on hiring public servants, that in and of itself, making and not replacing them as they fend out through attrition. People retire or they leave or whatever. You don't replace those. I know this. I don't know where. I know you work in a different field than I do, Joe. When I was in civil service, but I can tell you we had 6 accounting techs in my office when I worked for the comptroller. And I can tell you the amount of work that goes on during the course of a day. You could do it with 2 of them. Okay? I mean, that's just, I just know that. It's just you just don't want to overwork people. Well, it's not really, in something like accounting, it's not really, you're counting beans for crying out loud. It's not, real intricate work in terms of you're not the analyst. You're not the one analyzing the budget. You're not the comptroller. Your job is you're a bookkeeper. You make the marks in the ledger where they're supposed to go. And you can do, it's not that difficult of a job. So
maybe you want to put a stop to things like this. I just see today. This is from the Washington Free Beacon. Elizabeth Heron report. The Environmental Protection Agency is looking to hire 15 diversity and inclusion specialists, each of whom will make $100,000 or more per year. The agency will hire employees to set up diversity and inclusion advisory bodies across the country, according to the job posting on the government website. Earth Day is every day at the EPA, the agency said. At the EPA, you can protect human health and environment of all Americans, and you'll discover that the EPA is one great place to work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can just eliminate the EPA. You can eliminate the Department of Education. You can get a flat tax out there, eliminate the IRS. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you could do in a heartbeat that would knock this deficit down at the same time reducing taxes. This is not complicated. It's not rocket science.
I mean, to actually think about this, the salary range between in these is 99.7 to 146.5 per year. If all 15 of these positions are filled, it costs the taxpayer between 1.4 and almost $2.2 million a year.
Yeah.
Just in 15 positions alone for what is it? Diversity and inclusion specialists.
I don't even know how I can't even define that within military thinking. When you think about government, how they classify job descriptions, I'm like, you just read that. I went, what does that even mean? I mean, it could be a title for glorified janitor, for all I know.
It initiates collaborative efforts between minority academic institutions and the EPA's special emphasis program managers.
Yeah. Well, and looking at this thing with his tax initiative here, you cut the current number of brackets from 7 to 3, and the tax. I think he's talking pretty much. Well, he's keeping a certain tax rate out there, but it sounds like some type of flat rate. It's we're not talking about a standard. Depending on what income bracket you're in, you pay this. Like I said, 7 different brackets here. You're knocking it down to 3. You could almost just say, okay, we establish these 3. Let's eliminate all the loopholes. Let's call it a payroll tax or something like that, and let's just abolish the IRS.
Yeah, I mean, I could go with that. I mean, but this is he's so over the top with this. He's so not conservative on any of this. This is crazy talk. I can't. This is something akin to Bernie Sanders.
Well, again, at the very beginning of the show, what did I say? The name, the brand conservative is interchangeable to mean whatever somebody wants it to mean. Paul Ryan calls himself a conservative. We talked about the conservatives leaving Fox News. Okay, none of these things work. There are no establishment conservatives. There are none. Yeah. Period. There are none. So okay. So this whole idea of saying Donald Trump is not conservative. Well, he's not conservative by the establishment meaning of the word, which is whatever we want it to mean. Just like a liberal, it's whatever we want it to mean.
There you go. Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, we got to go to a break here. Bottom of the hour. We'll be right back with more on Trump's Gettysburg speech. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Am I not speaking English?
TheConservativeSyndicate.net. where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hagos, and we're covering, Joe's doing an excellent job here, talking about the content of Donald Trump's Gettysburg speech that took place, was this over the weekend? Was this on Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah, like I said, during the course of the day yesterday, I was flipping around channels and everything, and I caught bits and pieces of it. Of course, most of what I listened to, I have to be honest, most of what I listened to was coming out from the left. You know, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS. So, you know, I wasn't... it's not that I didn't think they were telling the truth. It's just I wasn't getting the honest skinny on it. Okay. So anyway, Joe, you've got the con.
All right, so we talked about the end the Offshoring Act. The next part was American Energy and Infrastructure Act. I want to talk about one of the ones that I think is pretty awesome, and that's his Clean Up Corruption in Washington Act. This anti-corruption thing, and just the short skinny on that one is enact new ethic reforms affecting politicians and their staffers, and i.e. the examples for that are these right here. He wants to propose a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. Where have you heard that before?
Yeah, there's a mountain that you're going to have to climb.
Yeah, absolutely. Might have to do a Article 5 convention on that one. But hey, we kind of heard that somewhere before in quote unquote conservative circles. I don't know. He wants to have we've already talked about this a little bit. The hiring freeze on all federal employees to reduce the workforce through attrition. Makes sense to me. How about this? The requirement to eliminate 2 federal regulations for every new one.
You know, if I can, let me interrupt you, Joe, because over the weekend, as I was watching what was out there, this was one of the conversation you were talking about here, the draining the swamp. Okay, this was what the media was all over the weekend. It's kind of like everything that goes on in the debates, and what was the big issue after the debate? Oh, he won't accept the results. Okay, yeah. You know, it's you take this whole idea of draining the swamp, and Kellyanne Conway, his campaign manager, was making the circuit over the weekends. That I remember seeing her on several, and she was on, I believe it was CNN, talking to somebody on CNN, one of the weekend talking heads. I don't even know what their name was. Well, anyway. The idea, this is how they approach it. Oh, no, she was talking to Jake Tapper, okay? And Tapper says to her, well, he wants to limit Senate term to 6 years. Something, by the way, we've talked about on this show, all right? 1 term, 6 years. And so Tapper says, well, his vice president nominee, the guy on the ticket with him, Mike Pence, served a total of 10 years in Congress. Okay, so does that mean that Mike Pence is a member of the swamp? Okay, that was the question that was asked.
How long has Hillary Clinton been there?
Okay, and Conway, I thought, handled it very well. She said, well, I think Mike Pence would agree with what Donald Trump said. Okay, and but here's the thing. What you do is you say, what he's saying is, okay, if Mike Pence was in Congress for 10 years, okay, fine. That was then. This is now. And so what you're saying is that because Mike Pence served more than 6 years in Congress, then he must be below the dignity of what a conservative is thinking and what Donald Trump thinks. No, he's saying it's just like his taxes. You know, when Hillary Clinton's jumping on him in the debate about his taxes, he says, you guys made the laws. If you don't like what I'm doing, you change the laws.
Yeah, thank you. How come you didn't do nothing about it before? Yeah. Because you don't want to, because you like it.
Yeah, so we're sitting here saying, okay, Mike Pence is basically a swamp dweller because of the fact that he served more than the 6 years that Donald Trump was proposing. Well, it doesn't make Mike Pence a swamp dweller. Nope. Okay? Mitch McConnell's a swamp dweller.
John McCain's a swamp dweller.
Okay. We're talking about, the point being is we're looking at term limits, and we're saying it's something that needs to be done. That doesn't mean that every single person that has served more than 6 years in Congress, whether it be Senate, whether it be the House of Representatives or anything, not every single one of them are swamp dwellers. Most of them are, but not every single one of them. Some of them haven't been around long enough to get a place in the swamp. All right.
Well, I tell you right now, you can have your term limit at 6 years, right? But as part of that, I'd want to make it so you can't get a pension after 6 years. Right now, 6 years in Congress, Senate or the House, you get a pension for life. And that's like, no way. How come they get to do that? It takes me 20 years in the military to get a pension.
Yeah, where else can you get a 6-figure pension for doing something part-time?
Yeah.
And not really actually accomplishing anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, it's like whatever. It's more distraction out of it, and it's more deflection out of it. Oh, we're just, because they like it. How about this then? We just repealed the 17th Amendment. Well, we're going to have to do a constitutional amendments and repeal something. The 17th Amendment, we'll go with that one. That'll drain the swamp this fast too, because take it back into the state legislature's hands to get our senators in place instead of the popular vote. Oh, we won't have that anytime soon. Hey, let's get on back with this. Remember, we required a requirement to eliminate 2 federal regulations for every new one. How about this one? This one, these next 3 are absolutely fantastic, I think. A 5-year ban on White House and congressional officials becoming lobbyists.
I would think it should be a lifetime ban myself.
Well, speaking of lifetime ban, a lifetime ban on White House officials lobbying for foreign governments.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you're working for a foreign government after you've served in public service, that should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, you would think. And then a complete ban on foreign lobbyists raising money for American elections. Hello, Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, and if you did that, we wouldn't have to keep having this argument over Citizens United.
Well, yeah, but, then you'd have the unions. As long as we have the unions able to give money, you're going to have this argument with Citizens United. I don't care what they say. They're just still hung up on it, because the monopoly's broken. So they can't get over that. Oh, you beat our monopoly, you damn Supreme Court. Yeah. And there's another thing that if Hillary Clinton gets elected, and that's the other thing. These people are talking about Hillary Clinton gets elected, for 4 to 8 years. No. It's going to be for the next 30, 40 years because of the Supreme Court justices she decides to go ahead and nominate. Because it's going to be out there, your First Amendment rights, your Second Amendment rights. You're going to have, if you care about abortion, you'd like to see abortion be thrown back into the state's laps instead of being a federal mandate, then that's not going to happen. If Hillary Clinton gets put into office, that's not going to happen for your lifetime.
Yeah, well, along that line, I think one of the other things they should look at is that if you're a nonprofit, you should not be able to accept any foreign money at all. Or you have to give full disclosure as to where that money is coming from. So that we don't have $12 million donations coming in from the King of Morocco.
Yeah, but he loves the American people.
Yeah. Well, he loved the American people enough to give Bill Clinton $1 million for his birthday.
Yeah, Bill was over my neck of the woods over the weekend, by the way.
Yeah, but I would think if you're a nonprofit, if you're tax exempt status, the idea that you're allowed to accept money from foreign sources, to me, I just find repulsive. Just like I would say somebody leaving civil service is going to work as a lobbyist for a foreign interest.
Well, you should be taxed on that money then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I don't know. I get what you're saying. If you're going to, maybe it should be taxable. Maybe we should get away from this whole idea of nonprofits. Maybe we need to eliminate the 501(c)s and the only people that really should be exempted is the church. It's the church, and however you define that, I wouldn't be against Mormons being tax exempt and Muslims being tax exempt, within their religions. Yeah, okay, go for it. Okay. But all this other stuff that falls under this 501c and 401cs and all these other things, maybe we need to do away with that stuff because they've just become money laundering schemes.
Well, it's like more tax tax law reform. So hey, I think our tax code needs to be completely reformed.
Yeah. Well, they think it needs to be abolished.
For that, too. Absolutely. Get rid of the IRS. There's some money savings.
All right, look, let's take our quick break and get out of the way here so I can give Joe adequate time to finish up whatever he can with this stuff today. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Am I not speaking English?
TheConservativeSyndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back. The Conservative Syndicate. We want to ask you, encourage you, implore you, exhort you. Visit our website, TheConservativeSyndicate.net, and pick up this show, any of our shows that we do. Everything we do is on our site, and all our reasons for it, everything else. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. All right, let's, Joe, you got the con here. I want to give you as much time as you can to go through as much as you can here. What we don't do today, we'll do tomorrow.
Sure, that sounds great. I mean, let's get a couple of other ones I thought were really, really high on the list. There's a couple here that are a little bit, they're a little bit, well, definitely not a conservative issue because I'd rather reduce the government. I don't want the government really being involved in anything here. But some of these things he was proposing would definitely have to have government involvement for stuff that should be taken care of in other ways. But here's one, end the Illegal Immigration Act. Basically, fund a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border with the full understanding that the country of Mexico will be reimbursing the United States. Okay, and we talked about that before. How are you going to do that? Mexico's not going to freely pay that. Hey, you just don't give them any of the foreign aid we're giving them, and that'll pay for the wall. Period. Done.
I like the idea of mandatory prison sentences.
Yes, establish a 2-year mandatory minimum federal prison sentence for illegally re-entering the U.S. after deportation. I also like this next one. 5-year mandatory minimum for felons who illegally re-enter and 5 years for coming back after multiple deportations. And then we increase the penalties for overstaying your visa.
Yeah, I mean, and it'd be real easy to do this if you think about it. Let's just reactivate Alcatraz out here off the San Francisco coast.
Would Jerry Brown allow? That's a big tourist thing now.
So what? I think it'd be great. I mean, the downside of this, the only downside I see to this is the cost involved of having to pay for incarceration and taking care of these people. But it seems like, I mean, obviously, if people are re-entering after you get rid of them, you got to do something to stop them re-entering, and you got to do something to stop them from. I guess it would be the cheaper way to go to be able to hold them up in prisons than to put them out in a system where they can drain the welfare system and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's costing us a fortune to keep these people here to begin with. I mean, our schools are flooded with them. Our hospitals and medical centers are flooded with them, and costing us big-time bucks that way. I mean, yes, these people, if you can stop, obviously you got to stop them from coming here to begin with. And then when you do get them, you need to send their butts back to where they came from. And then if they continue to come back, then you go ahead, put them in prison. But he also said he was going to repatriate them back to where they came from, and he was going to make damn sure that their countries took them back. Yeah. I mean, he's already said all these things before.
Yeah. And I think also the other aspect of this, the other element of this that would really help make it effective is the quit funding sanctuary cities.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's all pretty much, I hate to use the word, but comprehensive thing, because you have to have all these things intertwined together to make it happen. You got to quit putting the carrot out there to break these people come over. And they're not coming here to assimilate. That's the other misnomer. They're coming here to be part of the melting pot. No, they're coming here to use our stuff. They're going to get the stuff for free. And meanwhile, we have veterans waiting in line at our VAs, as you experienced the last week or so, waiting in line, being able to get seen. And so, but we can have diversity trainers for the freaking EPA? Come on, really? We can spend our money that way?
Yeah. Really? Well, as I'm reading through this list, Joe, and I don't want to distract you. Well, maybe we'll talk about this tomorrow in depth. There are aspects of what I'm reading here that are not really representative of conservative values.
But I was saying before, I was going to get to those tomorrow because.
Yeah. Okay. I'm making note of that right now, probably just so that I remind myself later when we have a chance to talk about it, because there are some things in here. But so far, everything you've covered, I think, is spot on in terms of, how do we fix the system, which you can't eliminate. You need to be able to do more with. You need it to become more efficient, more effective.
Yeah. Well, if you just did these few things, would be a hell of a lot better than what we got going on now. Much better than what has come out of D.C. in the last 25 years. That's for darn sure. So how about this one? Restoring the National Security Act. Eliminate the federal defense sequester to restore military funding. Guarantees veterans with the option of private health care if a VA facility wait times are too long. And institutes new defenses against cyber attacks and establishes new immigration screening based on values, which is what ours should be, based on our values, not their values. And in other words, get rid of the Ted Kennedy immigration model.
Well, I like the one aspect of this I really like is the idea of VA veterans being able to choose private sector doctors.
Yeah, I don't understand why that's such a big heartburn because you're funding the VA. I'm sorry. Look, we shouldn't have anybody waiting and dying in the parking lot waiting to get treatment when we have, again, we got the EPA has got to have diversity trainers.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm fortunate enough to be part of a VA hospital that is very, very adequate and very capable, very good at what they do. But I'll tell you this, and I know this because I experienced this firsthand out here. Because this facility is so adequate and so capable, it is impossible. I went down, if I'm not down there, if I have an appointment, like tomorrow, I have an appointment at 10 o'clock. I've got to be down there about 8 o'clock to find a parking spot. Okay, I'm telling you, no matter what time of the day or night you go down there, it's near impossible. I came out the other day, last week. I had to go down there 3 or 4 times over my hearing aid thing, right? And I'm coming back. I'm walking back to my car, and this young lady pulls up to me, and she's dressed in scrubs. So I know, okay, she's a nurse that works here. She pulls up next to me, and she says, "Are you leaving?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Where are you parked?" I said, "I'm parked down at the end of the parking lot here. Can I give you a ride?"
What's your spot?
She was due to go to work. She'd been driving around the parking lot for 30 minutes trying to find a place to park. She said, I'm late for work because I can't find a place to park. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm telling you, this is huge parking lot. Okay? And it's always full. It's always full. And so when I think about, well, how could you alleviate that? Well, let's let some of these people go to their own physicians.
Well, yeah. I mean, how far do you have to travel to get there?
Huh?
How far do you have to travel to get there? I'm sure there are rules in place where if you're within 20 miles of it, you must go there. But if you're over 40 miles away from it, maybe you shouldn't have to go there. Maybe you should be allowed to go to someplace closer to your home.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate. I'm 15 minutes away from the facility. But, somebody like you live down there where you've got to drive, 3 hours or something?
To get to the VA, it's quite a distance.
Yeah, you shouldn't be having to spend half a day just driving back and forth, for crying out loud.
It's a whole day because you're going to go there for half the day to get there, then you're going to do whatever it is you need to do, and then you're going to spend the rest of the day getting back home.
Well, that's what I mean. Drive time is half a day just driving back and forth, not counting how long you got to sit there and wait. That kind of stuff. Yeah, that's one thing about physicians and HMOs and PPOs. I used to have this argument with my doctor all the time. You go into the doctor's office and you're sitting there for 3 hours. And you're like, hey, my appointment was 3 hours ago. Well, the doctor got tied up. He had to go to the hospital, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, why didn't you come and tell me that 3 hours ago? What it is about you people, you want to charge me $25 if I miss an appointment. Yeah. But if I show up on time, you make me sit for 3 hours. Do I get $25 credit for that?
No. In fact, I told them, I said, I'm going to start billing you for my time.
Yeah, my argument is, why do you think my time is not so valuable that you can waste it, but you'll get upset if I happen to waste your time? So, and you can alleviate that by what? Making it, let's expand the how people can get to what they need to get to, and we won't have all this quagmire and all this.
It's called access. It's called access to care.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah. I mean, it's not very difficult a solution to come across, but that one thing that happened in Obama's term has really put the screws on this, and that would be called the Affordable Care Act.
Right. Yeah, and the idea, well, I'm not going to get into that here because we've only got about a minute left here. The whole idea here that, people worry about, I think one of the big arguments with the VA has been, we don't want people, we got big fraud problems and everything else. Hey, have you looked at the system? Have you looked at the system at all here lately? Anyway, guys, we're coming up on the end of the show here. And I'm going to let Joe continue this tomorrow because this is good. This is good that we actually have somebody that's actually at least articulating some conservative ideals and solutions to the problems where we got the Republican Party, the big conservatives, the big dogs just sitting out there in their ass doing nothing.
Well, they're going, hey, Hillary Clinton's not so bad.
Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. She'll at least help us preserve our establishment status quo. We'll be back tomorrow, guys. The ConservativeSyndicate.net. We love you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hayko, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.